Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Section 214 podcast. I'm Hammer with my co-hosts JS and Ascent. Um, this concludes, there's a final episode of the second season of the Section 214 podcast, but it's not the final episode because we
Thank
clinched a
goodness.
home playoff game. With this game, we'll be recapping. Lions beat
Yeah,
the
good job.
Roughriders
Yes.
yesterday. A lot of fun. It's been a fun October, been a lot of sports, so we might get into all of that. But vibes are generally pretty good. So it's nice to be back, all three of us being here, a three-man episode for the last couple of weeks. So how we feeling?
Well,
Good, all things considered. Been a good week of sports for the city of Vancouver. We got Lions clinched home playoff game. The Whitecaps about an hour ago won their first game of the playoffs. The Toronto Blue Jays in the World Series, and the Canucks, as of this very moment, they're leading Edmonton 2-1 in the second period. So we'll see how that changes by the time the podcast.
but that was after yesterday where they lost to Montreal. They collapsed on a 2-0 lead and lost like 4-3. They
I'm
almost came
choosing to
back
be
in that one,
positive.
but my dad was at that game in person, and again, I recorded that game on my PVR just to watch it later until after I finished watching the Lions game, and then it took me until like about 11 in the morning to finish watching that the next day because I felt tired after the first period, and then I watched the rest of it. And as you said, you felt so bad you to not to not spoil the game for me, right? But I said not the first time I've delayed a disappointing result for a sports team I like. That was the
Yeah,
Toronto game in late August, right?
came right
So,
to mind.
yep.
Canucks have had a confusing, confounding, injury-riddled start to the season. I will definitely say that the grass is greener, or more so, the turf is greener next door at BC Place, getting home playoff games in back-to-back weeks. So, um, been
which is
keeping my
which
eyes
is like
on
out
other
of
teams than
which
the
was
Canucks
out
at the
of
moment.
yeah, I was gonna say which was like out of the question a month and a half ago,
I know.
which is
Holy
crazy.
smokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember after the Ottawa game, we were talking about the season being over, and it felt like it was over, but we did not expect us to win the final six games,
Game,
perfect final
and
third of
now
the
we have to
season.
win three more to win the Grey Cup, and it would have to be like a nine straight winning streak for us to win the Grey Cup. And normally I would say, oh, that's really hard to do to win nine straight games, but we won six straight. Those three straight, what? That's no big deal. Knock
Well,
on wood.
going to be a bunch of tough games, but something interesting. The last time the BC Lions won the Grey Cup was 2011, and the regular season record that year was 11-7. Guess what their regular season record is
Ooh.
this year? 11-7.
11-7. Yep.
That's about where the similarities end. But the Lions, the last time they lost a game was September 5th. That heartbreaking, pathetic collapse in the final 3 minutes against Ottawa
Ottawa.
to lose 34-33. But since then, they've scored 38, 52, 27, 38, 37, 27 points. So they've scored more than 25 points in each of the last six games. It's just been amazing to watch, and I'm excited for next week.
Yeah,
No
and
doubt that we've faced a lot of adversity this year, and have
boy.
overcome a lot to get to this point. And you know, they've they've worked hard, and it's all outbursts in the past couple of weeks. So all the cracks have been filled. I mean, some of them had showed in the game yesterday, but it wasn't perfect. But
Yeah,
the team is rolling.
yeah. I was gonna say, well, I do want to talk about a little bit about everything before we get into the game proper, but to to add on to that point, yeah, the defense, and especially in the first half, it was like it was looking especially they were looking especially like well, I mean they were playing against like Trevor Harris too, so it's like Harris has always had a number on us. Right, even a 50%, or even Trevor Harris and like a Saskatchewan offense operating at 60% efficiency, they were still gouging the defense, which is like still, yeah, it's kind of a concerning thing to look at, right? Even though they didn't have anything to play for really, but um
At some point yesterday in our group chat, was it me or you? I can't remember. One of us said that, oh, it looks like the Lions were tanking to win to get the
I
crossover
said
spot.
that, yeah.
And it did
I
feel like that for a while because like people always say, oh, the crossover will be easier because the Eastern teams aren't that good. But even this year, the East Division has done surprisingly well. At the end of the day here, we have the lowest the lowest ranked playoff team this year finished 10-8. There isn't a single team that made the
Yeah,
playoffs with a losing
actually,
record. I don't even
I
know the last
also
time that happened.
yeah, well, actually, funny you mentioned that. I remember going on the CFL subreddit myself, and I saw a comment that said, "This is the first time that every playoff team has been above 500 since 1988."
Wow, that's
So,
Really?
almost
yeah,
40 years.
Wow.
there's every every year of our lives, there was usually a team that was like a below 500 that made it in the crossover, right? But not this. No, everybody has like a legitimate shot of winning the Grey Cup, right? Like there's
Like
no
there's
real.
10 wins, 11 wins, or 12 wins. The margins are so close. Like Saskatchewan gets a first round bye, but a few things go differently here or there. Could just as easily be any one of these teams getting that bye.
Yeah, there's no particularly like weak team that or Cinderella-esque one team, right? Or no, anybody can be argued to be winning the Grey Cup, and I find that refreshing a little bit, like because
Yeah.
usually when we're talking about a team, like like especially last year's Lions team, they were just a dead team walking into Saskatchewan, right? Like we had a feeling they were going to lose that, and they did. Right?
Yep.
It was just the way they ended the season. It just like the negative vibes just continue. But BC is like the complete opposite, where we've had like nothing but positive vibes in the past month and a half,
Yeah.
and I'm scared that the hammer is going to drop at some point on us, but I hope it's not, not at all. Right?
Yeah.
That's
That's kind of
the only concern I have about the Lions is that they haven't faced adversity in a while. Like they haven't lost a game in almost 2 months. And that's something that I always worry about, when teams go that long without losing. I think it was the 2017-18 or 18-19, I can't remember, the Tampa Bay Lightning who won 60 something games in the regular
the
season.
19 Lightning.
Yeah, then they blew that one playoff game and boom, 3 games later they were swept out of the playoffs.
Yeah, well, actually, no, I would argue. Well, I mean, I would say, well, they have faced adversity in games in terms of they almost choke leads, right? And especially in this game. But actually, that's the kind of adversity that we're gonna be expecting in these playoff games for sure, right? I don't think. I mean, I do think BC does have the offense to blow teams out of the water in the playoffs, but that's really hard to see when it's like everybody's really good, right?
I
uh,
Absolutely.
don't think they'd be here if they weren't good at facing adversity. Just the amount of crushing losses they've had this year, they'd have to get over that to win 6 games in a row. Just they've been on such a wild journey during the
God, yeah.
season.
I'm just amazed. I'm just so glad that we get to host another Welton semifinal and that you're going to be going to that one too, JS.
Very excited
Mm.
about
uh,
that.
Yeah,
Cook and
I'll see
tell.
you there if there's no World Series Game 7. I
Hopefully.
mean, yeah,
Hopefully it doesn't get that far. Hopefully the Blue Jays can wrap it up by Wednesday. Wouldn't that be nice?
hmm would be nice for
No.
for two of us.
No. No, no, I was gonna say I hope that the Dodgers wins three straight, but it's just to like completely get it over with, like just a
Yeah,
World Series favorite. But like yeah, I know I'm in the like very much the minority of Canadians who just dislike every single thing about Toronto. It's just down to being the only sports teams. But I've said that time and time again. Like uh,
I think
I've even
I
avoided
think
like
everyone
watching the
knows.
news. So,
That would have been
which
me if the Oilers won the cup. I think you know
oh
my
yeah,
stance on the Blue Jays, so I'm not going to rub it in your face anymore. But it's been an exciting October for me to say that.
yeah. I will say that another thing about well the Blue Jays playoff run that they're going on. I mean, I did. You know, I was glad they beat the Yankees at least. That's one thing. And then of course when it came to Game 7, I I kind of I tuned in like right as George Springer hit that Game 7 leading home run to game winning home run. I, I and I sounded like the loudest F bomb I think it's in a long time.
Wow. That
Like, of course, like
was
the moment I go onto that game and I see that happen, I'm going, oh no, I'm
that'll
in
be
for some news hiatus.
that'll be replayed for years, decades.
Decades and uh
I
and,
I cried
yeah.
after the final out. I just can't believe, still in disbelief, I get to watch my team in the World Series. So,
Yeah, and
I
still,
mean,
and you're probably in disbelief that you actually watched your team win a game seven for once, right? Because it's
mhm.
been because
Yeah,
I even said that after they won that. Like, I think in your lifetime you've only really been through the Canucks winning game seven against the Blackhawks in
Blackhawks, right?
2011,
But
and then
I was 5 years old. I'm sure I watched that because I was a Canucks fan since birth, but I don't remember that. So the only one in recent memory for me was our loss to the Oilers, which will it's put a lifetime of hatred for the Oilers ahead of me.
yep.
So
And
better not be the case for the
and
Dodgers.
Mhm.
I think yeah, this was your second like witnessing of a game seven, really. Oh, I'd say, well, actually, maybe more like the first, because I think, well, when you were born, that was like after the 2007 playoffs, right? But that was pretty much like after
But yeah,
they beat Dallas in seven. So, uh,
yeah. Well, I wouldn't have gained consciousness by then.
yeah, uh, that's a whole nother debate for
You
another time.
you
But
only live until you become a sports fan. You start living when you become a sports fan. What I'm saying.
yeah, you start living when you finally watch your favorite team win a game seven.
Hmm.
uh, I've yet to see that happen for Ottawa, but uh,
Man,
yeah.
I fingers crossed for you.
But I have seen Vancouver win a couple game sevens at least there. So dating all the way
Hmm.
back to like 2003. So yeah, I think it was 2003. Yeah, I was against St. Louis. I want to say
Should have
yeah.
won that game against Minnesota that decade. Anyway,
Yeah. Anyways,
this is very far back.
yeah, it's yeah, that's oh yeah, and also I guess another thing about, well, yes, I'm wearing all the teams that won today. So I'm wearing like Senators pajamas. Well, that was from yesterday, and then the Eagles won today pretty handily against the Giants, and then yeah, this team won yesterday as well. So yeah, all
Yeah,
winners.
My Chargers won on Thursday. So it's nice when your team wins on Thursday night or loses for that matter, just because you don't have to focus on the Sunday games. You don't have to stress throughout the Sunday and kind of just enjoy the other NFL games. I've not
Yeah,
had
the
my eyes
Eagles are
too
going to be on their
fixated
bye week.
on
I
the
was going to say the
NFL. There's
Eagles
been
are,
so
yeah,
much going on.
yeah, the Eagles are also going to be on their bye week next week as well, so I can relax and watch Dallas continue to suffer. And which
Something
they
that's
did today.
universal hating on the Cowboys.
Yes, they are the Leafs of football, and I'm like, good, they're
Mhm.
continuing to suffer. Uh,
Oh, Jerry.
oh, Jerry, why did you give away Mike Parsons?
God.
Anyways, yeah, let's well, all that other sports talk aside, let's get into, well, first of all, I want to talk about a little bit about the other CFL games that happened before we get to the gut check of this one. So
A
yeah, so
stressful weekend for us fans
yeah,
of the
it's
Lions.
pretty quick. I mean, I noticed that before the recording, like I had to look through the score lines of every single of every game this week, and put, like, the teams that we needed to lose, they all won comfortably, and they never relinquished the lead at any point. Right, so the Ticats beat the Red Blacks 35-15. So at that point, we were like, okay, so if that takes away the incentive for Montreal to win the next day. But after that Ticats game, then it was the Stampeders beating the Elks 20-10. That was also, again, that was another game where Stampeders took the lead and never looked back. Wasn't really in doubt. Uh, Even though Fajardo did his best, and he also shouted out BC in a Sweet Down Nation article that I read. It said, like, oh, he thinks we're the 2023 Alouettes in spirit, which is nice.
I hope
And
so.
yeah, and then like the game that we really absolutely needed to see the Bombers lose in this one, but they didn't. So yeah, they had to lead. Well, they had like the tightest margins of. Well, they literally had the tightest margin of victory out of all the other games, right? But they were still, the defense was keeping Montreal like out of the end zone a lot of the time, right? And it was just so annoying. It was so grating to just watch that happen. I'm like, oh my god, we of course we have to own like that second place, right? Because pretty much,
That's what we said it was going to be like. We knew it was going to be. We talked about this
yeah,
last week,
we knew that.
and
Yeah,
I
I
called it early that it was going to happen, and it did. Ultimately, they got it done, but it wasn't a surprise. They just, would have been nice to have kind of a mean nothing game to play with. But you know what? Keeping things, keeping going and not having to let up at all is good too. Keeps their players fresh, and they played well.
and battle hardened as well, right? Because yeah, it helps. What even if we're on like a 6 game winning streak right now, I mean, yeah, it's still to keep us to keep the team in the going in the zone throughout the playoffs after this would be that's a net benefit really. Uh, yeah, but it just it was still very annoying that basically what we knew was going to happen happened, and BC had to basically like own their home field advantage, which they did, and now we'll get to that in the gut check too. So yeah, like this game, yeah, this was the only game out of the 4 games of the last week of the regular season where it was like, it's tight. It was down to the wire. It was, the Lions relinquished the lead and got it back, and that was also controversy that many Riders fans, like all over social media, were just like, talking about it a lot. And I fought, I fought the urge to, remind them you're still gonna be hosting the Western Conference Final, right? Like, why get so uppity about that, right? But yeah, it's just the way it is. I mean, I kind of want to end, them Riders fans as much as us as Lions fans. Like we love to end this regular season on a high note, and ultimately it was us on the very highest of notes, like near soprano levels of high notes. That's a music
I'm
term.
glad
So
that we played last, so we knew after our game where we were going, we wouldn't have to sit and wait for anybody else. We knew what we needed to do, and we got it done. So the schedule maker worked in our favor there.
yeah, not for the other games, but for this one, yeah, yeah, and we're glad that we found out that we had to basically win to clinch home field advantage, and they did that. But again, not without many warts of this game that definitely was it was a theme in the first half of the season in terms of the defense, right? uh, yeah, even with like Trevor Harris only being in the game for 20-30% of the time, he still shredded us. And I had a feeling like if this was a more meaningful game and Harris stayed in the game, I think the Riders probably would have won this game pretty handily. uh,
Yeah. Yeah, he's gonna be
but
scary in the playoffs.
yeah, and then of course we also already lost to Jacob Mayo in the past as well. That was when Work was injured and Masoli was in.
Just
So
forgot about
yeah,
that. Yeah, that's for
That was
yeah,
so
Mayor
long ago. That was how long ago was that? Several months
four
back. So
months.
like,
yeah. That was like ancient history for us, right? But I remember
That was
that because
June, my first episode back of from Europe.
yeah.
yeah, like
No, I
he's
think that
gotten a
was the
lot better
third.
since then.
Yeah, that was the third episode, I believe. But yeah, and then and then we were there for the Riders game after that at home, and then they pretty much destroyed us. that
Yeah,
was
that
that
wasn't a
was the
fun
one.
watch.
Yeah, that was the one where I won like free raffle tickets for that, right? And
Yeah.
I wanted a refund after that, even when they were free tickets. uh,
Yeah, numbs the pain a little bit. But
yeah,
yeah, these Riders are a good team. I mean, you could see they only scored 3 points in the second half when Jake Mayer came in, and when you read his stat line, pretty much the most mid performance. Um, so yeah, we got our work cut out for us, and then sure there's some cracks that we do have to fill. Defense O-line was particularly weak. Rourke got sacked a few times. Um, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, the offense was still, pretty good when it needed to be, but it wasn't like a, typical Lions win where they scored like more than 30 points and get like near 400 yards of offense. But as we're now used to seeing them do with this win streak. But yeah, they were yeah, I do believe that yeah, this was just one of those games where it was just yeah, Saskatchewan, they kind of gave us hell, and when they didn't need to, which is kind of dangerous for a Grey Cup contending team, right? When they still have that ability to spoil things for us. and
Yeah.
and in the first half of the game, before we get to the statistics, like in the first half of the game, I was saying in the group chat, I was saying, where was this game against Winnipeg? Right? Why couldn't you have done this to Winnipeg, and we
I
wouldn't
know.
have to be doing this, right? and risking injury to key players. And actually, yeah, there was an injury to one of Saskatchewan's receivers. I believe it was a Joe who was injured. Uh, but
Yeah,
yeah,
they'll be kicking themselves over that. They got 2 weeks between games, so
yeah,
big opportunity
thankfully,
for them to rest up.
yeah, for the West up. But yeah, that was definitely in terms of like the effort that Saskatchewan put out there. Like it was unnecessary, but man, yeah, just players' mindsets are different than fan mindsets when it comes to games. That much is true. So, and speaking of, I guess a fan mindset and taking a look at what the raw stats of this game are, I'm going to go into statistics now. So, I'll start with the Lions stats here. So yeah, Nathan Rourke went 23 for 28 for 368 yards. It was nigh 400-yard game there, but it didn't feel like it, right? It
Jesus
was
Christ,
yeah,
He
yeah,
ended up just a
on
few
fire.
yards behind Bo Levi Mitchell for the top yards this year, but he started I think they said two fewer games. So on a per capita basis, he threw the most yards.
yeah. If he stayed healthy through the whole season, I think he probably would have been the top quarterback passer in the league. But uh, and yeah, and then he tacked on 3 touchdowns, then had the 1 interception. 13 yards on average per throw, and he also had like just the one carry for 5 yards compared to the last game against Edmonton where he ran for almost 100, right, including 70 yards and one touchdown run, right. So he wasn't as mobile in this game, but yeah, just made up for it for passing lethality, which is I like what I like to see a lot. uh, And also, yeah, similarly, well, I mean, in terms of struggling in the run game, yeah, Butler only had the 8 carries for 28 yards, but he did have like a key first down run in the fourth quarter to clinch the win for us. But other than that, very pedestrian numbers and, no touchdown, and an average was 4 yards. And the longest one was 11. That was like the first down one in the fourth quarter. And then he had 3 catches on 3 targets for 38 yards. His longest was 22. So yeah, it's um, pedestrian kind of stats in this game, but I do think that he'll probably be utilized a little more in the Calgary game because I remember the rushing attack in the Calgary games for BC was like a lot more prevalent in that, and we'll be looking for that in a playoff game. So
Sure.
yeah, and then Horvath only had the 3 carries for 5 yards, no touchdown, so he didn't explode for multiple yards. He wasn't a meme running back. uh, oh yeah, and speaking of meme players, Aberhart, and to top off the receivers, like he's the top receiver in the game. He had 4 catches on 5 targets for 101 yards and 2 touchdowns. 25 average and as long as 63 yards. This is his break. This is like one of the breakout games now he's got. Right?
When
That's
we needed him the most.
needing him the most. Yeah, and that longest pass was on the first play of the game. I just immediately I was just hyped
Set the
for
tone
that.
positively in a good way.
Yes, and yeah, I was waiting on a game like this for this in terms, not just in terms of the yard totals, but getting the touchdowns in, and he's got it today, and yeah, and then the other receiver, Hatcher went 7 for 7 for 75 yards on one touchdown, which should be like a McGee stat, all the sevens. But yeah, and then he had the one touchdown, 10 average, and as long as 25. Katoy
And
went 4 for 4 for 58, 15 was his average, and as long as it was 30. Barry Hill went 2 for 3 for 51, and as long as it was 30. McInnes had like the lowest amounts of yards, and he could have had a touchdown, but again, we'll get into that. But he only went like 3 for 5 for 45 yards, and as long as it was 22. So yeah, it's kind of like spreading the ball around in terms of the receivers, in terms of the offense, right? But Abel was a standout in terms of the receiving, in terms of just stat totals in every facet, right? uh, yeah, and then the defense, yeah, the defense didn't play, godly uh, as they did in the past, but they still Betts got the one sack he added to like his insane totals of like I think it's he ended the season with 15 sacks in the season now, when he was at like 0 for halfway through the season. So yeah, had that, and then Finlay had the one interception, no fumbles, 2 turnover on downs. Ked Jr. had 9 tackles, Josh Woods had 7, Williams and Lee had 6, Finlay had 5, and the rest of the team had less than 4. So yeah, I think yeah, and because Saskatchewan had so much time of possession in this game, which we'll get into like a little bit later too, that did contribute to the high amount of tackles for BC's defenders, right? Because they were just like they were being gashed, and there was so many tackles, right? There's so many second down conversions for Saskatchewan that was happening. Yeah, and then for special teams, Sean White went 2 for 2 to field goals and 0 for 1 on extra points. He missed that first touchdown extra point, which was like a bit of a downer at the time. But yeah, I think actually, yeah, yeah, I think it was the one, and then yeah, then they went for a bunch of 2-point conversions afterwards, right? So
So they made
yeah,
up for it. They made up for the point they lost.
yep. And Carl Meyer for a punter, he only had the 3 punts for 57 yards. So it's like, yeah, even yeah, I think with that low time of possession total for BC, that was like well, yeah, we made it count on most of our drives in terms of scoring plays, and then only the 3 punts. So with that, and then yeah, McGee for kick return stats. Unfortunately, that one punt return touchdown that he scored against Ottawa, that's the only special teams touchdown we have all year. Could not finish the season off on another touchdown. And maybe he's
just
saving it
glad
for
we
the
got one.
playoffs. Yeah.
Hope
Well,
so.
one so far, wouldn't it be the most crazy thing ever if we scored one next week or if we win in a future week? Wouldn't that just be the most hilarious thing ever?
Or if he does it in the Grey Cup, and that would be like a game-winning touchdown. That would be
I
uh
think I would probably just like retire.
no, I think I would believe the football gods are, well, I mean, I already kind of know the football gods are kind of a real thing in terms of like how making the other teams miserable, but that would be the ultimate proof of existence that there is football gods, and uh yeah, but anyways, he had the 5 return catches on special teams, 3 punt returns and 2 kickoff returns for a total of 119 yards and a total of 60 for kickoffs and 59 for punt returns. And yeah, it was like 20 yards of per punt return, as long as was 31. So yeah, he had a bit of no, he had a good game in this one. He did have like one, I believe it was one kickoff that got BC's offense to midfield, which was pretty good. Right. But that's about, kind of the standard in terms of kick return game for us now. Like, we're just we're thinking like one push into midfield when the special teams constitutes a good game for the special teams. Right.
Mhm.
It's only great when they score a touchdown, just one. uh, Multiple, we're talking about get a lottery ticket immediately after this game.
Yeah, all the luck would be used up on the special teams.
Well, it's bound to happen eventually, you know. At least our field goal kicking has been, pretty well spot on this year.
Pretty
Not
much
not
automatic,
perfect,
yeah.
but it's been consistent. You know, we haven't always had that in recent years, but since Sean White's returned to the lines, they've been good. I know we had Ty Long for a while, and that was rough. There's some other kickers whose names I don't remember because they were so forgettable.
Leone,
But Sean White has been
Japanese
consistently
guy.
incredible.
yeah, Richie Leone, and yeah, before, yeah, there was a bunch of miscellaneous kickers, and there was also, yeah, then we had like Paul McCallum for a long time in the late 2000s, early 2010s. Right? Um,
Japanese guy was cut after 2 games.
yeah, let's. I guess you guys could talk about the Saskatchewan stats, and I did mention before that Harris was only in for like 3 drives and torched the defense. And what else is new?
Oh,
Is uh
Who goes on offense? Jacob,
all
near
right.
you.
For the offense here, we have Harris. I'm reading here. He played for I think roughly the first half of memory serves. He went 10 for 11, 112 yards. So that's a good outing for him. Kind of felt a little bit like a preseason game for them and how they approached it with their quarterbacks. But he played well, 10 for 11, 10 for 11, 112 yards. Jake Mayer went 16 for 24 with 154 yards. He threw an interception. So interestingly, there were no passing touchdowns for the Riders yesterday, which, that's good for the Lions. The Riders have a strong passing offense, and we didn't let them score any touchdowns. So maybe, fingers crossed, we'll have a chance to repeat that in a couple of weeks' time. We can do the same thing again. That'd be nice.
yeah, it would be great.
And, and with the
Yeah.
running backs, Wallet had 11
Oh,
characters, 11
oh,
carries.
sorry, I was gonna say that Jack Cohen was also like the third string quarterback. He got the touchdowns in
Oh,
this one.
okay. You're right. You're right. You're right. I forgot about that. He just didn't throw any passes, apparently, according to your stat sheet here. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, he had 2 touchdowns, so good for him. Moving on to running backs, well, that had 11 carries for 43 yards, so only an average of 4, which feels pretty poor for him. So we did a pretty decent job shutting him down. Sorry, my screen blocked out here for a second. Bertrand Hudon, hopefully I said that correctly, had 10 carries for 36 yards, an average of roughly 4. So again, nothing much to see there. Moving on to the receivers, Tommy Neild had 8 catches for 75 yards. Kean Schaefer Baker had 6 catches for 69 yards.
Schaefer Baker was
And
especially deadly in that first half. Like he kept constantly catching balls. I'm like, oh my God, somebody cover this guy. Right. But he stopped after that, right? They stopped targeting him after that, which is kind of weird. Uh
And then
yeah.
finished last few receivers here. Aju had 4 catches for 42. Duncan Bushby had 3 catches for 33 yards. And Mitchell Picton had 2 for 18. And then one more. Bain Jr. had 1 catch for 8 yards. I think that's everybody here. I need to make a point to make this text a little bit bigger because it's a little bit hard for me to read. There we go.
Oh
I've made it
yeah.
150%. Now I can read more
Okay,
easily.
Yeah,
quick
you could
fix.
probably you could probably zoom in terms of like doing it yourself, zooming in, and that'll help out.
Or just move
uh
my head closer to the screen.
yeah, or do that. Yeah, just
That would be
a more manual kind of way to look at text.
that would be funny if you were reading stats. You'd just be like, defense, 2 sacks from Baldonado and Carney, 1 interception from Lacombo, no turnover on downs. That's wasn't there one at the end of the game? Then Miller Jr. had 9 tackles. Rest of the team had less than 3. On special teams, Michael Hughes perfect on field goals and extra points with 2
Yeah, for
each.
once it's a huge we're cheering against in this one instead of cheering for.
I know the huge we were Oh, he was out of the lineup in today's Canucks game. But anyways, Jesse Mirko, punter, 3 punts, averaging 53 yards, and Alfred, kick returner, 4 return catches on special teams, 1 punt return, 3 kickoff returns, averaging a total of 79 yards, for a total of 79 yards with
Yeah,
a
75 for
25 yards on
kickoffs.
kickoffs, 1 punt return for 4 yards, and then Bain Jr. had 1 kickoff return for 30 yards and 1 punt return for 11 yards. Um, Penalties, damn, these are
Yeah.
very low.
The
Huh.
very low, yeah, I think that also basically contributed to the controversy that we'll talk about in the game recap as well. Like there's an unusually low amount of penalties in terms of BC games, right? Yeah, and 2 for 11 for us. That's like wow. That's like seeing a unicorn in the flesh,
Mm.
right? Uh, yeah, so 2 for 11 for BC, and then yeah, 4 for 40 for Saskatchewan. Yeah, Saskatchewan had like more penalties than us, so that's not going to happen again.
2 for 11. There would
Uh,
normally be zeros attached to those.
yeah, and then I said before time of possession, Saskatchewan overwhelmingly had the time of possession at 36:58, compared to BC's 23 minutes and 2 seconds. So yeah, and I think a lot of that time of possession was like heavily skewed towards the first half, where BC was basically scoring points with low amounts of plays on a drive. And Saskatchewan was like constantly doing these second down conversions that led into long lasting drives that pretty much inflated the time of possession for them. I think it definitely got better in the second half for BC in terms of keeping the ball longer, but yeah, that was that's no, that's kind of like a point of criticism in terms of this one, right? It's like if Harris had that amount of time of possession, he would have been, Saskatchewan would have been up by like 12 or 14, 21 points. But Mayor's so mid, so don't better hope that he's not going to be in the Western Conference Final. Like if Harris does get injured in the midst of the West Final, then oh boy, that's going to be a bit of a headache for the coach and for the fans. But um, yeah, so yeah, I yeah. One thing I'll say before getting into the game recap again is I was also white knuckling pretty much the whole day before this game because I was worried that I was gonna have a blackout and I wasn't gonna be able to watch this game. But thankfully, it stayed pretty much stable for me to be able to watch the whole game. Right, so yeah, good. Let's keep it going. And November is the stormy month, so we'll see about that. And
Really rainy so far.
yep,
This October.
just life in the PNW is what it is. uh,
We pause for a quick
and
second before the game recap.
Let's do that.
oh yeah, sure. Hang on a second. Okay, now we're back. We just had a bit of a bathroom break, and no, I did not change allegiances because during the break I checked the Packers game and they won. They beat Aaron Rodgers, which
Crazy.
which is
In a
something that
game that none of us thought.
yeah, none of us thought they were going to win that. And yeah, they had like a 21-point fourth quarter. Yeah, so I get to wear a never winning team shirt today, so it's like good. I hope by the end of the recording, the Connect 12 won. Let's hope that you know,
Yes.
up 3-2
Now
at the
we can
moment.
recap another winning team here.
Yes. So
Right.
yeah, let's get into the first quarter. Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention in the statistics read was work well the TSN mentioned this as work is 88 yards away from 5,000 passing yards in the season. So obviously he got that. So he's I think he's definitely like he's blown away like Wes Jackson's records in terms of highest passing yardage for a season, right?
Easy.
Over 3,000 yards.
Just one of
Crazy.
the best seasons we've ever seen from a Canadian quarterback, honestly, just a quarterback, period. So like, well done to him. He will be well deserved if he wins the MOP award. I don't know if he will, but he would deserve it for sure.
He's a favorite, absolutely, at least. And he's also one win away from well, yeah. Before the game, he was one win away from tying the most wins by a Canadian QB of 11. So now he's got 11 in the season. So yeah, it should have been 12 or 13, but again, he got injured like early in the season, and Matholi was in. It wasn't that good. So yeah, not a surprise though. He got all the wins. And yeah, BC must win to clinch home field advantage, or if they go to Montreal the crossover. We're like very close to having that possibility happen. Uh, and then in a change of pace, I think that the TSM must have heard me complain about them wanting, always gassing up the other team and wanting BC to choke. So BC is now the team being gassed up before the game starts, because TJ Lee and McKinnis were features on the pregame show. Like, okay, good. And there was a little bit of that kind of like the implicit wanting BC to choke in the commentary. It wasn't as bad as like games past, but it was still there. There was still that talk, right? um Yeah, BC won the coin toss, and McGee returned the opening kickoff to the BC 32, where Saskatchewan is called on a face mask on the kickoff to bring them into the 47. So it wasn't a no yards penalty. So face mask was better, at least in terms of an actual legit physical penalty instead of just positioning. But yeah, and first, like I said, first play of the game for Abar, he instantly connects on a pass from work on an RPO play as he runs down the sideline for 63 yards with a touchdown to take the lead, 6-0,
Jeez.
because they missed the extra point.
That
Sean
was just
White
such
did.
an amazing start to the game. Really,
Wow.
couldn't be better. Hopefully they come up with something like that next or two to get the fans on their feet.
Yeah, yeah. Imagine doing that again to Calgary. That would just instantly put that seed down their mind that we've already set in them in the past 2 wins that we've had against them, right? Because yeah, that was probably it's like one of the fastest opening scores to the Lions game ever, right? Outside of, I don't know, probably like an opening kickoff touchdown, but I cannot remember the last time that happened. Or if it's ever happened in our lifetimes. Probably in the 2000s, maybe with Ian Smollett or Tim Brown even. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, instant 6-0 lead and feeling pretty good. And then on Saskatchewan's next drive, Alfred returned their opening kickoff to the 38. Cone converts on the short yardage run on second down, and then Harris throws a strike in the middle of the field to Shaver Baker for a 12-yard conversion on 2nd and 9. And expect to hear me say the name Shaver Baker often in this part of the review, because been doing that a lot. Neal catches and runs along the sideline to help the short yardage conversion on 3rd down. And then we'll let one for 8 to help another short yardage conversion. And BC is called for offside to help Saskatchewan to get into 1st down. That's like the one of the 2 penalties for BC. So, little did I know that was like the that was going to be a very real thing happening for the team in this game. But and then basically Saskatchewan then scores to take the lead on a short yardage touchdown from Cone to take the lead 7-6, and I'm going, oh, here we go. It was at that moment when I was like, okay, yeah, of course, this is gonna be a tough game for us when everybody else didn't have really as much of a tough game. But yeah. And McGee then runs the next kickoff back to the 50-yard line. So that's like one of his good returns. And then Hatcher catches a tight window throw from Rourke to convert on 1st down for 25 yards. And that was the catch that made Rourke go to 5,000 plus passing yards in the season. Which, congratulations to him. That's like, man.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
I'm so happy that we finally have like an elite superstar quarterback here. uh, um, well, at least in terms of just pure consistency, like Vernon Adams last year, he had great numbers in the beginning and then it kind of tailed off in the end, and he's doing the same
I
thing in
mean,
Calgary. But
Rourke doing consistent 300 yards is it's just a treat to watch. Give you so much confidence in the team, no matter what.
no matter what, yeah, it's like if this offense continues to roll like it does and these wins, then yeah, Grey Cup bound for sure. But anyways, yeah, but unfortunately, after that 5,000 plus yard passing, that happened. Rourke then gets sacked on second down as he's surrounded by Riders defenders. But like, well, Riders fans were complaining about the refereeing for their side. There was a missed call on the face mask that I'm not sure if that was in the highlights that was shown on the highlight that you watched, Hammer, but I saw it. Like it was a missed face mask call on Rourke that could have been a 15-yard penalty for
Why
Saskatchewan,
didn't the Lions challenge it
See that?
then? That doesn't
and
make sense. They should have challenged it
didn't challenge it, which is weird, right?
because they would
But
have won
that,
that pretty easily, I would think.
yeah, but I guess they just didn't want to leave it to chance, really. But then again, it kind of thin defense, really. Like there should have been a challenge, and that should have been a penalty. But yeah, so missed face mask forced Sean White to kick a 50-yard field goal to retake the lead 9-7. Harris convert, and then on the next Saskatchewan drive, Harris converts on a quick throw over the middle to Schaefer Baker again to convert on second down and long. And then he does it again on a well-defended pass by TJ Lee on second out for 7. Willett catches in the flat and runs for 9 yards to help the short yardage conversion. Cone actually, and then Cone has his longest run of the day on short yardage. He does like a 15-yard run out of that third and inches, which is like, instilling dread in me. I'm like, oh my God, if we're going to give up like 15 yards on a third and inches, what's going on, Benny Begitas? Are you back to being the bad defensive coordinator that we wanted fired in September?
15 yards on a 1 yard. That's insane.
Crazy. Yeah, but yeah, then in the final play of the quarter, Bertrand Hudon only managed a 1 yard run. And then, yeah, so pretty decently eventful first quarter, but yeah, Saskatchewan had the lead. We had the lead at that point, but barely. Like, what it was still an uncomfortable kind of lead we have at least. But
And I'm okay with games like this because in the playoffs there will be close games. If they make it through next week and are back in Regina on the 8th of November, it's going to be another tight game like this. So I'm okay with it, honestly. You'd love to see blowouts every week, but the reality is that just doesn't happen. So
then no,
it's they need to win games like this. So it's a good thing, honestly.
and well, yeah, this continues because yeah, on the first play of the second quarter, on 2nd and 9, Harris's pass like slipped out of his hands for the first incompletion, and the only incompletion he threw. So that was like, that could have been a touchdown for Saskatchewan, but yeah, the ball just slipped out of his hands as he passed it. So that was like a real miscue from him. And then Hughes lines up for the easy 28-yard field goal to retake that lead 10-9 instantly, right? And yeah. So yeah, this was the one again. This was the one game that kind of flipped back and forth between who had the lead, rather than one team taking the lead and running with it. Rourke then drops a dime. Like on the next drive, Rourke drops a dime to McKinnis, who takes a heavy shot and holds onto the ball for a 25-yard completion. And then, oh yeah, I also made note of that where, you know, just to put in perspective how great Rourke was in his game. At this point in the game, he only had 3 passes and for 130 yards at this point in the game. Crazy.
That's
uh,
insane. So,
but
wow.
yeah, that's like video game numbers right there. 3 passes, 130 yards just for the first bit of the game. But yeah, unfortunately, then Rourke gets sacked again on second down for a loss of 11 to force BC to punt. As Meyer boots the ball into the end zone for Alfred to kneel on a rouge. There's that rouge again. Tie the game at 10. And that's going away. mm, uh, anyways, Schaefer Baker once again then converts on an out route for 13 yards on first down. Van Holzen like another conversion catch for 12. And then Harris has nearly tripped up, but runs for 15 yards to convert on second down. And oh yeah, after after that, he had that old man kind of strength run in terms of 15 yards for the conversion. And after he got tackled, he basically got up and he did like this phone call, like taunt to the team. Like, if they're trying to call me and saying like, "Hey, I own you right now. I
It's
own
Aaron
your life
Rodgers
a
type
cent.
celebration.
I own your life a cent," right? Yeah, that was bit of a little bit of a fun moment for him. I mean, no, he was like taking this as unseriously as possible, but uh, yeah. So after that, basically, just you know, after a couple catches to get the first and goal, Cohen once again runs the ball into the end zone on the 1 yard line to retake the Saskatchewan lead 17-10, and the XP was good. And then Saskatchewan then kicks off out of the end zone to extend the lead on the Rouge to 18-10. So it went from like bad to worse for BC on that. Right? So that was like a glorified 2-point conversion, pretty much. Um, yeah, so pretty much behind the 8 ball, but JS, you did say that, yeah, it's still anyone's game in this one. BC can still come back in this, right? It looks a little dire. I think that was also the moment where I thought, like, okay, they might be tanking for that crossover. It kind of looked like it, but they proved me wrong.
They certainly
because
did.
well, I mean, first of all, Horvath is short of a stick on a second down one, which helped the short yardage convert with the offside to Saskatchewan. Oh yeah, this was like another bad moment for BC because then Work then gets picked off in like double coverage, who downed it at the 44, right? And I'm like, oh no, no. And then yeah, and then I was like dreading even more, like they could take a two possession lead at this point. Joe's deep shot gets defended by Kodo on first down, and then and then this kind of happened in the last game, the Elks game too, where they get an interception and then we answer with an interception of our own. It happened again today, and just like it with Finlay, right? He picks off Harris, takes it to the Saskatchewan 50, and I think that was the last throw of the game for Harris. And I kind of joked that Harris rage quit, right? Like he didn't want to throw an interception to BC. Like, he rage quit. I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm like, I want a perfect game. I want 5 touchdowns. Just kind of like me as a kid when I play Madden. Like if the opposing team scores, I quit.
Oh. That's me with FIFA.
Yeah.
Oh, good
So yeah,
times.
after Harris's last play of the game gets picked off, and then we're like, oh yes, that's huge. And yeah, then Hatcher then converts for 15 yards and a first down pass. Butler then catches and runs for another 15-yard conversion before the 3-minute before the 3-minute warning. Horvath only manages a 2-yard run, and then after it, Work throws incomplete to force White to kick the easy field goal, shorten lead to 18-13 to keep us in it, at least. um, yeah, and then on Saskatchewan's next drive, Mayo does slot in as quarterback for the rest of the game at this point, and he fires it to Ajo on second down to convert for 18 yards, and then to Neal to convert for 8 yards on second down. Like, yeah, just multiple second down conversions for Saskatchewan that really, like, again, inflated their time of possession. At that point, that was like it was going to be like another dreadful moment where, oh man, they're going to score again, but Meyer then fumbles the ball on short yardage on third on, and BC recovered the ball at the 24 with like 44 seconds
Comical.
left. Right, that was another big moment in the game. Even though it didn't, unfortunately, it did not end up in points for BC because there was like not a whole lot of time left in the game. Oh no, in the half, and they didn't really do anything with it. They kind of just were happy to let the score stand. right? And yeah, because they were deep enough in Saskatchewan territory where it was going to be hard to see them score from there, right? Because had Meyer like fumbled that ball deep in their own zone, that 100% would have meant BC scored points, right? But yeah, so that's kind of a trade-off where prevented Saskatchewan from scoring points late in the first half, but BC didn't have enough time to manifest a scoring drive of their own to end the half, unfortunately. But yeah,
That was frustrating how the half ended though, because the Lions had the ball near midfield with 7 seconds to go, and I was screaming at the TV, take a timeout so you can slow down, have a chance to make a quick pass and get a field goal, but they didn't. They just let the 7 seconds run off, and they could have made it 18-16 before the half with a little bit smarter clock management. I harp on clock management all the time, but this is why. Luckily, it didn't cost them in this game, but in the Grey Cup, it might.
might. And they had a similar moment against Montreal. Like, remember that when they nearly lost the game. It was like 1 second left on the clock, and they kicked a game-winning field goal on that. That's
Oh
what this
yeah.
reminds me of too. Right? Like they could have done that. They could have like saved 3 seconds, like you said, fired a quick passing play, and then maybe try like a long-distance field goal, or we were at least to get. But yeah, BC just again they just decided to let the score stand, and then in the third quarter, so yeah, I guess that kind of now that I read this, it does make that decision even more baffling because Saskatchewan got the ball to start the second half as well, right? um, so it would have been nice to put a little more doubt in them. But yeah, Alford returns the opening kickoff to the Saskatchewan 46. Picton is a yard short on a curl out pass as BC's defense then BC's defense forced another turnover on downs on an iffy ball spot in midfield. It was like real iffy, right? Like it could, um I think that was the first moment where Saskatchewan fans were like the refs are holding us. Okay. Uh and yeah, then BC does well, okay, yeah. Here we go. Rourke gets hit as he throws to Berryhill on a deep shot who catches and converts for 43 yards. And then here's like the thing that everybody in Saskatchewan is like talking about in this game, even though it's like
One we all know
well,
about.
yeah, well, at least the CFL subreddit and certainly social writers, fans on social media are like really up in arms about. So here's what happens. Hatcher catches the ball. He runs, he just about to score the touchdown, and then he fought he turns around and then he gets like hit in the back. Well, yeah, he gets like hit in the back, and then like he fumbles the ball as he gets hit in the back, right on the 1 yard line.
Not
The
the 1 yard
whistle,
line, like the 1 inch line,
yeah, the 1 inch
one
line,
millimeter line.
1 millimeter, yeah, and unbeknownst to everyone, and then present company included, like the whistle was blown because the refs were like, they thought that was a dead
That
ball
it
or
was
something like
in.
that, right? But Saskatchewan, then Campbell takes the ball and then he runs it like all the way down to the end zone, scored a touchdown, and I'm like, "Are you serious?"
I think I said in the group chat at that point, there goes the end of our home. There goes our home playoff game hopes because that would have what would that have made it? It was 18-13 at the time. That would have made it 25-13, a 12-point game with like literally taking it back 109 yards the other way. That would have been ball game right there.
That would have been a backbreaker. But a
But the
review
early
happened. Yeah, a review happened, and like I said, but there was a whistle that was blown like right as the fumble happened, but nobody heard it, and because of that whistle being blown, it's much like the intent to blow thing for NHL referees, right? Because that happened, Saskatchewan instead takes over at the 3 yard line instead of scoring that touchdown. So
I have many thoughts about this. I wanted to go over best of that. First off, I think my dad listened to the game on the radio and he said the radio guys, Moj in particular, was quite livid that they didn't give the Lions the touchdown. He was apparently adamant that Hatcher had crossed the plane of the goal line. I've looked at the replay many times. I don't think he did.
I don't think he did either, but it was like extremely close. It was like a literal hair line from being a touchdown.
Like, yeah, literally the width of a credit card or something like that. It was very, very
Oh,
close.
The width of an index card, just like the Raiders game where he took like the index card and measured it for the first down, right?
Pretty
That
much.
was
Yeah,
unbelievable.
that's how close it
how
is. But I think in the end, it was fortunate for the league that the whistle had gone because in a sense this allowed them to kind of, split the difference because had they given BC the touchdown, BC's fans would have been pissed. Had they given to or Saskatchewan's fans would have been pissed rather. Had they given
yeah,
Saskatchewan their touchdown, BC fans would have been pissed. But this outcome here kind of lets them
it
split the
balances
difference and,
out.
yeah,
It
and tick
balances
off
out the
both
other,
sides.
yeah.
Like Ben Major, he's a great referee. He always does an excellent job of explaining things. And he explained it really clearly. He said, but the whistle had blown, so we can't give Saskatchewan the touchdown. And ultimately that's right, because, a lot of players had heard the whistle and stopped playing at that point. So, oh, look at that, the Canucks won. There you go.
You for sure
Um,
would. Let's go.
Okay, let me just quickly change my. No, I'm not gonna do that. Oh
well,
no,
there
this
you
is
go. Another win. They basically this allowed them to make both sides unhappy and probably was the most just result out of a really icky situation that,
and that's coming from the lawyer talking about this too, right?
yes,
In training.
exactly. And at the end of the day,
It's
things
all
didn't
about the
change because
balance.
Saskatchewan had to punt on this possession they got, and BC scored a touchdown anyway. So in the end, it took a few more minutes, but BC was in the same spot that they would have been either way. So in the end, it was controversial, but luckily for us and luckily for the league, it didn't impact
It
the
wasn't
outcome
a
of the game.
particularly high stakes game. It wasn't a playoff game. It wasn't like a Grey Cup. Right? It was more of like this was just a battle. This was just BC the game to get position, get home field advantage. Like I said, right? If this was a playoff game, 100%, there would have been like so much irate Riders fans, way more irate Riders fans, right?
Yeah, who
Yeah,
knows what they would have done there? Like they didn't even what was the call on the field on that play? Was the call on the field touchdown BC?
it was touched. I think it was touchdown wide.
No,
Mm,
it wasn't because the whistle blew.
no.
So what?
Oh
It
no!
must have been
Oh no!
touchdown
No!
BC because it was they would have automatically reviewed it.
No, yeah, I think the call on the field was was a fumble, but and then the whistle sounded right. So it was just I think the review was just to see if BC had if Hatcher had broken the plane, and he didn't, but just
Nope.
barely. So yeah. Anyways, yeah. So it went from like a pretty significant swing. Like we went from BC possibly going like up. What was the score at this point? Yeah, it was yeah, it could have been like 2018 BC, and it also could have been 25 to 13 Saskatchewan, but the score stayed the same. So there was that equilibrium that was maintained, right? So that was like a very significant like moment in the game where it could have gone either way, but again, yeah, we think the more just call, yeah, I would agree with you. Like the more just call was like to just let Saskatchewan take over on the 3 yard line, right? Because um, yeah. So yeah, after all that, Bertrand runs and converts for or Bertrand Houdon run and converts for 11 yards. Carter then defends the pass on second down to force Saskatchewan to punt. So yeah, that was basically that helped out BC in the end, right? Because Saskatchewan still could have like gone down the field and scored even without that with that touchdown being like called off because of the whistle. But yeah, they didn't do their part on offense to like make them score anyways, right? So uh yeah, punch to McGee returns it to the Saskatchewan 35. So we're in good field goal range here. Butler then hauls in a tough catch after a run to convert for 8 yards. and then Rook fires it to a wide open Abraham who spins and runs to the end zone to score the touchdown to take the lead 19-18. And they also tried a 2-point combo, and that was no good. That was like a really stupid run call. If I remember, it was just like a trying an up the gut run that didn't work. But yeah, that was Abraham was basically showing Hatcher that's how you score a touchdown when you're hanging on the ball, right? But uh, good. I'm like, okay. Whew. Still a 1-point lead though, but it's like, okay, like it could have been like so much worse back then in the near past. But yeah, then on Saskatchewan's next drive, Alfred runs the kickoff to the 36. But Saskatchewan is then called for holding that pushes them back to the 23. Neal catches for 9 yards to help the short yardage conversion, and then TJ Lee breaks up a deep pass to Duncan Busby on second down to force them to punt again. McGee returns it to the 18, and then Work avoids the sack by pass. The Horvath incomplete. So yeah, he kind of avoided the sack, but it was still an incomplete pass. Anyways, he was like falling, and he just got the pass away to be incomplete. And yeah, then Hatcher only manages 1 yard on the short catch with a 2-and-out punt, which Alfred returns to the 38. And then Bertrand Houdon is short of the first down, but this time the Riders short yardage team works this time. No turnovers on downs this time. Mayo escapes the pocket and converts on a run up the middle for 11. And on the final play of the quarter, Bertrand Houdon is stopped at the line of scrimmage on first down. And yeah, fourth quarter. On the second down play, Picton catches, breaks the tackle, and runs to convert on 2nd and 10 for 15 yards. Duncan Busby converts on a catch for 12 yards after breaking a tackle, and then Saskatchewan curiously takes a timeout on 2nd and 10, which was like, oh, that's not a good time to take a timeout. Unless like Corey Mace didn't like what he saw out of the offense on that, and they just wanted to like have some more time to just rearrange it, but didn't work because Betts sacked Mayo anyways, right? Just encore performance for him, like he had the 1 sack and just for a loss of 9 to force Hughes to kick the 42-yard field goal to retake the lead 21-19. And then Abraham and then on BC's next drive, Abraham only manages 9 yards on a second down catch, and Work then won the hard like 2 yards to convert on third down. Like that was one of those like really dangerous looking ones that ended up working in BC's favor anyways. But I was like, oh, that was close to being a turnover on downs, right? But then Katoy only manages 5 yards on a second down catch to force BC to punt anyways. So no harm, no foul for Saskatchewan there at least. And then Alfred returns the kick to the punt to the 20. Ajo converts on the first down catch for 12 yards on the crossing route, and then Bridges, who I believe was a former he was a former Bomber this season, and then he got cut, and then he signed with us. Right. So then he breaks up a pass on second down to force Saskatchewan to punt. McGee steps out of bounds at the 37. Rook runs and fires to McInnes to convert on first down, and then Katoy converts on the first down again on the same fast pass as well for 11. Hauls in another conversion for 28 yards, and then Berryhill converts on 2nd and 3 for 8 to get in the goal-to-goal range. Rook chucks it to Hatcher, which was ruled incomplete, but after automatic review, because his hand was under, this was like the last controversy that Saskatchewan fans didn't like, because they thought this was incomplete, right? But it was after automatic review because Hatcher's hand was under the ball and he tucked it into his body. Like the tip of the ball was like dragging a little bit along the field, but the key point is you cannot use the field to help catch the ball, and he didn't do that. So
it was close. Like if they had ruled it the other, like I don't know if
it
there
was
was
ruled
enough to
incomplete.
overturn that. Like they ruled it incomplete on the field, so I don't know about that one. I think the Lions might have caught a lucky break there too. But you know what? We've caught our fair share of unlucky breaks from the officials over the years. I'm not going to complain, but I don't blame the Riders fans for being irked on this one.
I don't know. Yeah, it could have been really could have been called incomplete, but I think yeah, the fact that it looked like the ball wasn't like being aided by the ground. I think it just like brushed the ground, but I don't know. It's kind of like a very minute detail of determining what a catch is, right? uh, but yeah, anyways, after that, we take the lead 27-21. And also, this time we try a 2-point convo that works because Rook throws it to Hatcher instead of doing another stupid run play, right? Especially considering, Butler was kind of struggling in the run game in this one. But yeah, so we lead 27-21. And we're like, okay, we're still not out of the woods yet, but it's like, okay, we're feeling good right now. Then Alfred returns to the kickoff to the Saskatchewan 39 before the 3-minute warning. On second down and 7, the old converts on a short pass for 10 yards, and then after the 3-minute warning, Payton converts on first down, but the holding call pushes Saskatchewan back 10 yards. Bertrand Hudon manages like 12 yards on a screen pass, and Ajo converts on a tough catch for 10 yards. And yeah, this is the tragedy. He does get like injured in the process. He had to be taken out of the game. I mean, he does get like at least 2 weeks rest, so I hope he returns in the Western final at least. But yeah, it's gonna suck. And it's like you're so close to finishing the regular season and you get hurt. Um, yeah. And then after that injury timeout, the defensive rush limits the second down gain to 3 yards. And then, last gasp for the Riders, 3rd down and 6. Mayo throws incomplete. Like Benavides, this was a really great call for him, right? In terms of the defensive call. He sent like an all-out blitz on Mayo, right? Like no, he had no time to like get set and throw the ball. It was like pretty much get a panic throw, incomplete. Right? That's like a great way to time your blitz, right? That's pretty much like really good timing in terms of using a blitz and in that situation. So yeah, freeway complete, and yeah, then Corey Mace just desperation challenge. He thought there was like DPI, there was none. Absolutely none on
Oh,
no. And then Butler then runs on the left side to convert for first down, and then that's pretty much icing the game. So, you know, I was actually surprised how quickly, well, I guess the game went by like pretty quickly because of the lack of penalties, right?
Yeah, they weren't a lot in
And
this game.
yeah, it that fourth quarter, I mean, like it was, fairly stressful for us, but it wasn't like as stressful. Didn't really like feel as stressful as games past, or right? But that might just be me. I'm just burnt, just so burnt out on these near collapses, and also collapses by BC. I'm like, this is just normal, right? I'm used to it now. So yeah, BC narrowly hangs on to defeat the Saskatchewan Roughriders 27-21. They finished the season at 11-7, just like in 2011. And they end the season on like winning 6 straight games to lock up home field advantage at second place in the Western Conference, setting another showdown with Vernon Adams' Calgary Stampeders in the semis on November 1st at 2:30 p.m. So remember that time, right? uh,
save it.
Save the date, save the time, and also I hope to see. I hope that some of you will be able to watch the live stream and on that game. I'm also going to say this. I'm going to do a live stream on Friday as well, but it's going to be more of like a half a test, half a test for the live stream, and the other half is like I'm just going to be playing some New York Times games like Wordle, Connections, Strand, and also some crosswords. So that'll be fun. Uh,
Depending on World Series implications, I might join you. So we'll see. That should be fun. I'll tune in.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. That your undivided attention will be on the playoff game, right? But we'll see.
Oh yeah.
Uh, so yeah, that's yeah. What a yeah. I mean, JS, you were also saying that you wouldn't be like too caught up in like losing this game if DC did lose the game to go across them, but you wouldn't be like too
No,
doomy about it. But again, ending the season on a 6-game winning streak, that just
nothing
feels
at all
so
to
much
complain
better,
about.
right?
It's like very, very
Yeah,
good.
that's compared to where we were at near the beginning of September before my birthday. In fact, that's kind of the funny thing I noticed. Like, just after I turned 30, they were winning.
Ah, yeah, we
They
never
just
lost in.
they never lost when I was in my 30s now. So okay, like 10 years of wins, please. Undefeated seasons forever. Make Winnipeg fans hate us a lot. Because and also I would like a taste of our medicine too. Because anyways, yeah, that game was fairly stressful. I mean, that was like the most stressful game of the week. Go figure, right? uh, oh man, yeah, that was still good win, and but it was like one of those ones that's just like, of course, they made it like unnecessarily stressful. They've been doing that all year for us, right? And it was just, uh, okay, well, yeah, that's it for the game recap. And then there's going to be a couple more things that we're going to talk about before we end the episode here. Right, so pretty chock full episode today, at least all things considered. So I will say that um, if you'll recall at the beginning, I think it was probably one of the preseason episodes. Yeah, it was like the episode, the preseason episode that we did before the first game of the season. We did our standings predictions, and we revisited them one time in one of our bye week episodes. I think it was the one where we had an interview with James that
Hmm.
we did like a standings revisit. I can't
Yeah,
remember
I'm
like
gonna go bury myself in a grave before we talk about this because um, not that many hits for me. So
yeah. Yeah, I will. Yeah, so we kind of had this
hmm,
point system. The closest our predictions went to the actual standings results, we would be awarded. You'd get awarded a point, and of course we had, know, all three of us were in it, and then of course we kind of had this funny name for when all of us had the same prediction and it didn't come true. So that's called Team Wash.
yeah,
Right.
hmm,
So that's basically just, like we all predicted Winnipeg would be number one, but they turned out to be number four. Right. So for an example of
as a wash
what a team wash point would be, right? So it ended up being that I won the war.
winner.
I got the most points in terms of correct standings position at four. So I correctly predicted BC, Calgary, and Edmonton. So all three of those were in the West, right? None of us got anything correct, like anything dead on in the East, right? It was all a
That was a
topsy-turvy
huge toss up.
conference, right? All of us thought Hamilton would be worst, and the first they started from the bottom and no deal.
At the top.
They sure
Um,
did.
yeah. Oh yeah. I was gonna say like yeah. I had the most correct prediction that for Team Wash got three, and then JF and Hammer you two got just 2 points. So
Crazy. Team Wash beat
yeah.
us. I'm gonna hold my head in shame. I want
God.
to recite some things that I did not forget I said during the episode or either our standings predictions. Um,
Mhm.
on the West, I predicted Calgary would be last, so shame on me for doing that. That was awful. Um, I said, I initially said that I would have put Saskatchewan first, but we're never going to count on Winnipeg. So I put Saskatchewan in second, and Saskatchewan were obviously in first. But the worst thing that I said, um, which I don't think all of us predicting Hamilton in last makes it any better, but I said that the East is hard to predict, but the one thing I guarantee is that Hamilton will suck and be last place, and they won the division. So
I guess they
you
voted
guys
on
can
you.
flame
I
me.
heard that and I took it personally.
Yeah,
That's what happened there.
they really did.
Yeah, like
So yeah,
nothing personnel, Hammer.
we
uh,
will do our best to improve on these predictions next year. I will, and
yeah,
probably nothing will
yeah,
change
you two
because
will
it's an
try me.
unpredictable leave.
Yeah, you two will try, but me, I'm like,
We're on top.
I'm gonna do it again, right? I'm gonna say
Hey,
that, oh, Hamilton's probably gonna be second.
yeah,
I,
you're gonna be
I'll, as long as Bo Levi Mitchell doesn't like call it quits. Uh-oh, chipmunk voice. Uh,
Oh no.
okay, now we pause. We had that chipmunk voice happen again for.
hmm.
I was
Hey,
hoping it
we
wouldn't
recorded long
happen.
enough. It was bound to happen.
Yep. Uh, so yeah, thankfully it was like, happened near the end of the episode. We're just gonna talk about yeah, Ditto's, final standings tally, and now we're gonna talk about Western and Eastern semifinal previews. So let's start with the Eastern semifinal, because that's Winnipeg in the crossover on the road against Montreal. Go Owls.
Oh,
Please,
Owls. Yeah,
with the CFL of these demons, right?
yeah. I will say the McBLT, Bethel Thompson, Alouettes are very bad. So if they can get Alexander playing in that game, then I believe the Alouettes are going to win that game as long as Mother Nature just doesn't completely screw them over.
Oh my God,
Um,
could you imagine if that happened again?
I watched the highlights of that game like pretty recently,
Oh,
and I just was like re
I
relive the
yeah,
pain. But
we'll have to keep our eye on the weather in terms of weather predictions for the
yeah,
Montreal area, because my God, if that happened again, then that's like
no,
that would
it's
be even worse in a playoff game too. So yeah,
yeah,
but I do think that well, yeah, the Winnipeg roster is like aged significantly, and they have been very inconsistent, like even more inconsistent than us in the season, right? Except for beating us, but
mm,
yeah, they've been more consistent, like down the stretch, right, in terms of games, right? Especially against Calgary, they couldn't beat Calgary for the life of them, and that's what contributed to the crossover status now. And yeah, well, I think yeah, the one thing that Winnipeg does have going for them is that they know they're going to be hosting the Grey Cup, right? And it would be funny to be hosting the Grey Cup as an Eastern Conference representative when you're in the West. Funny for them. For us, it would be like, not these guys again.
mhm.
But yeah, anyways, that's like farther down the road. Like in terms of this game, I do think that Montreal does have what it takes to beat Winnipeg. It's just the question is, will Winnipeg BS their way again?
Yeah.
That's the question,
I think
right?
that
Because
is the biggest question.
that's always a risk. Like, you do not want to count these guys out at any point,
Oh,
even when they look weak. I mean, hell, that was one of the titles of the episodes of the Bombers games. They appear weak when they're strong. All right, that's what they're doing.
They've been doing for the past 5, 6 years. Never ever count them out. If there's any team that's going to be the first crossover team to make the Grey Cup, I think it's going to be this Bombers team just
Oh,
because of their playoff experience over the last half decade. That's what often happens, in all sorts of sports. Teams that, maybe aren't the best in the regular season, but have that playoff experience can come through when it's tough. So, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying it is certainly plausible that Winnipeg wins the next 2 weeks and gets to be in the Grey Cup, which if that was the case, they'd be the road team. Which means if the Lions played the Bombers in the Grey Cup, the Lions would get to use the Bombers locker room. So I think that would be quite funny.
that would be
would be.
hilarious. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and again, had BC lost this game, it would have been up to us to be the crossover, to be the Eastern representative, right? Which would geographically would make even less sense, right? Because
It's true.
at least Winnipeg used to be an Eastern Conference team back in the day,
They
right?
did.
Yeah, before Ottawa came back into the league. I think, yeah, that was when they got back into the West at 2014. So yeah, so at least Winnipeg historically used to be an Eastern Conference team, and it would make more sense. But BC being like the crossover Eastern Conference representative, like crazy. But We don't have to worry about that. What we do have to worry about is Calgary again, right? Vernon
This game's
Adams
being,
again.
yeah,
Is he
this
gonna
game will
sit
be
like
played in a dome.
in a dome? And is he, is he like, he played pretty poorly against us in those two games. Is he saving his, revenge narrative for a playoff game? Right. That would be the ultimate sign of like the ultimate middle finger to us, right? Uh yeah, this is gonna be I think this is gonna be another tough game for us to win. I mean, it's probably going to go down in the wire this time. When the other two games in the regular season, like BC, they destroyed Calgary on the road, put up like 50 plus points on them, and then they had like a decent lead that they almost blew, but they won anyways. But this one, I think it's going to be an even more tightly contested playoff game. It should be at least, but again, if it turns out BC blows them out again, that's just fine and dandy. I fine by us. I don't like
So yeah,
stress. uh yeah, that's yeah, well, we talked a lot more about the Eastern Conference semis, but yeah. I guess one more thing about the Western semis has got yeah, but yeah, again, the last time we faced Calgary in the playoffs was another Western semifinal game, and that was in 2023, and that was at least for us in terms of for us famously, I called that the well, actually no, that was the game where they won. We were all at that game. They won. Then I came home, and then unfortunately a few days later I had to put my dog down, Bella. She's up there, right? And then pretty much the Western Conference final after that, we called that the win it for Bella game. So, but that wasn't meant to be. And I'm hoping it's delayed. It was delayed up to this. Like this is going to be the win it for Bella games now until we win the Grey Cup at least.
it's not too late.
Not too late. Yeah, that was pretty tough. It was an entertaining year for BC in 23 to beat the severely under 500 Stampeders, but that was like
6-12
a
versus 12 and
completely
6.
completely different Calgary team than what we got now. Like it's going to be a tougher team to beat now, and yeah, oh boy, I'm gonna try and get my actually now that I think about it, I did. Oh yeah, I ordered McDonald's off of Uber before the Lions game yesterday, so I got that in the clutch. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it.
I will be doing that on Saturday.
I'll try to do that on Saturday too, but just we'll see if it's raining or not. But anyways, yeah, that's boy, November 1st. That's like as the date turns into November, like we're getting into CFL playoff mode. Like literally the first day we're in, and at 2:30 in the afternoon. And I hope I see you guys on the live stream on that day too. So you'll be seeing a lot of
Yeah,
me. So yeah, we're excited about what's gonna come up for us. Hopefully in the next like 2 or 3 weeks, right? Well, three
no matter
weeks,
what, it's going to be fun.
preferably. Yes. Yeah. We're yeah, that's gonna be it for us today, like at 10 o'clock, and you guys are must be getting pretty tired.
Yeah.
Want to get
Yep,
some
I've
Got
been up
school
since
tomorrow.
5 a.m., so I'm getting tired.
yeah, let's all be happy that every one of our teams are well every a
Yeah,
lot of wins for our teams today, not necessarily yesterday for one result, but mostly like 99% of it was great results this weekend, right?
fingers crossed to keep it going throughout this week and towards Saturday.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's be in a happy mood on November 1st. So yeah, so that's gonna be it for us today. So like, subscribe, and comment on the on the video. If you like to hear us talk about everything that transpired over the past few months, the ups and downs, and of course we got our Twitter, Blue Sky, and Instagram accounts in the description. Follow us there, and also you can email us for long form answers at section214@gmail.com. That's SECTIONTWOFOURTEEN@gmail.com. And yeah, we're locked in. Let's go win. Let's go beat Calgary.
Hope so.
Let's do it.
Yes.
See you guys next
Yeah.
time.
See you on the second. So bye bye.